Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Leia. I'm not really sure what this video is even going to be about. There's not really a central purpose. I think I'm just gonna vlog, and it's about reading as well as books. I did just get a new book in the mail that I pre-ordered. It is Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It by Brooke Averick. I've been looking forward to reading this all year. I really like Brooke as a content creator. I just think the premise is really interesting. It is not like anything I've really ever read or heard of before. So I don't know. I feel like this book was pretty highly anticipated for me. I think Brooke is funny, and so I feel like her humor would translate well through this book. I also really like that the main character is about to turn 30 because I'm about to turn 30, and I feel like I don't read a whole lot of characters my age. I feel like, especially in the romance genre, they're always in their like early to mid 20s, trying to still find themselves, not really knowing who they are. And I do love stories like that, but I think it feels more interesting to maybe explore a character that is a little bit more settled into life, a little older. I will say though, my only apprehension is the fact that Brooke already has a massive following. And I feel that generally whenever an influencer or even a celebrity decides to write a book, I feel like I sometimes question the integrity of the book. I feel like if they don't have a specific story that they want to tell, it sometimes just feels a little inauthentic. And I do question if it's just a cash grab. I feel like since this has such a specific plot line, it doesn't feel like a cash grab to me. It feels a lot more genuine. That being said, I could just be drinking the Kool-Aid. I did purchase the signed copy of the book because I do really like Brooke a lot. What I'm trying to say is sometimes I'm a little more skeptical when people with massive followings decide to publish a book because it's also just a lot easier for them to do so. Anyway, I am enjoying it so far. Her author's note in the beginning of the book was really endearing to me and really sweet. And I'm just excited to read more of this. So I'm gonna do that in this video. I will check back in once I have more thoughts and feelings. Okay, hi. I'm not currently in my house. I am dog sitting for my friend this weekend, but I did want to give an update because I finished Phoebe Berman's Gonna Lose It. Do you want to say hi? Oh, thank you. I probably shouldn't post people's children on the internet without their permission. Anyway, I binged that book in like 2 days. It was so addicting to read. Overall, I really loved the book. I was mostly excited to read the book because of the premise, and I just felt like she executed it really well. I feel like she really explored intimacy anxiety specifically, but also the pursuit of facing your fears, feeling behind in life, even though there really is no timeline. And I just really enjoyed that aspect of the book. I also love the fact that there were 3 male leads and that we didn't really know who Phoebe would end up with, if any, and we didn't know how the book was going to end. In a typical contemporary romance, you meet the male main character, you know exactly what's going to happen at the end of the book, but with this, it felt like the best of both worlds. Like, it was really fun just seeing the story unfold, but also you had no idea who she was going to end up with. I also loved the ending of the book. That being said, I do think the book could have been longer. Phoebe is a part of a friend group, and there's also a couple conflicts throughout the story that I feel like we could have spent more time on and maybe like delved into more and unpacked a little bit. I felt like those were a little glazed over. I also thought that Phoebe was a very big self-insert of Brooke. I think a lot of Phoebe's qualities really mirrored Brooke, and maybe she was just like writing what she knows and it wasn't necessarily intentional, but to me, I had a hard time picturing anyone other than Brooke as the main character. But overall, I did really love it. I ended up rating it a 4.5 stars, which in hindsight is a pretty high rating considering all of the critiques I had about the book, but I truly think it was just so enjoyable to me. I couldn't rate it any lower. I'm also currently listening to The Girl on the Train. This is a thriller about a girl named Rachel, and she got a divorce a couple years ago and has since been on a bit of a downward spiral. She is an alcoholic and she rides on a train. She is the girl on the train, and she rides it to and from work every day. And each time the train will stop for a short period of time across from this house that Rachel starts to kind of become fixated on, and she's fixated on the couple that lives in the house and always looks out for them. And she kind of starts creating this false narrative in her mind about this couple's relationship. Like, she really glamorizes them. And so then we also get the perspective of Megan, who is the woman that lives in the house, and we learn that her life isn't as glamorous as Rachel kind of pretends that it is, and we learn about her and her marital problems. Eventually, one day someone goes missing, and Rachel finds herself in the throes of the police investigation. It really piqued my interest at first, and now I don't care. I don't care about what happens. I cannot find myself to care about any of the characters. I think I just don't like thrillers, and I don't know why I keep reading them. I guess there is a part of me that wants to know what happens, but also no, there's not. But anyway, I'm gonna keep listening to that. I'm also gonna go to the bookstore. I have to buy a book that we're reading for book club, and I went to Barnes & Noble the other day and they didn't have it. So I'm hoping if I go to Scholler Books, which is like it's like a chain bookstore in Michigan, they tend to have a pretty wide selection. So I'm really hoping they have it, because book club is in a few weeks and I haven't started it, and it's a pretty decent sized book. So I'm getting a little worried. But yeah, that's the plan for today. So I will check back in later. Okay, hi, I'm back home. I'm done dog sitting. The dogs lived. They didn't die, which is great news for me. That's like my number one goal when I'm watching other people's pets. I went to Scholler Books and they did not have the book that I was looking for, which was disappointing because they've never let me down before, but the book that I was looking for isn't really all that popular. So it also kind of makes sense why they didn't have it in stock. I ended up just downloading it on my Kindle. The book I was looking for is Sweet Bitter Song by, oh my God, what was her name? I think Rosie Hewlett is the author. It's kind of similar to Song of Achilles in the sense that it's a sapphic romance set within like Greek mythology. However, this romance is between two women. It's Odysseus's wife Penelope and their servant Melantho, who fall in love. I think normally Penelope and Melantho have this like pretty big age difference, but in this book, they're the same age and they grew up together. So far, it's pretty good. It's a pretty fast-paced book, so I feel like I can get through it pretty quickly, which is good. So anyway, reading that, I also finished Girl on the Train, which I did not like very much. I just don't think I like thrillers all that much. I don't think it's my genre. I feel like maybe it's the books that I'm reading, but it just feels like every story is the same. It's like the same type of plot twist, the same formula every time. I also can never connect with the characters. I feel like characters in books is what I read for, so it's like if I can't connect with the character, then I don't really care about the story, which was unfortunately the case with The Girl on the Train. Yeah, so I ended up rating that 2 stars. But again, I think it's just not my genre, so maybe like don't listen to me if you like thrillers. I don't know. So anyway, that's my reading update. Today, I am going to do a book unhaul. I had like a stack of books that I wanted to get rid of since January. I set them aside back in January. It's now June. I still haven't gotten rid of them. They're essentially mostly books that I thrifted and I just don't really want to read anymore. And so I think what I'm going to do is ride my bike and distribute them into local libraries around my city. I'm also adding a few books to the pile that I have read, but I just didn't really like. The Girl on the Train is going. Same with Five People You Meet in Heaven and The Push. I have them all in this backpack. Here they are. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to ride my bike with this on my back, and then I will slowly distribute all the books. I'm a little nervous it's gonna be hard. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so here I am, ready to go. My first stop, I went to my favorite little library, but as you can see, it was completely full. So I had to ride my bike to the next place, and I went to a Salvation Army that had a little library outside of that. It had One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which I thought was funny because I'm currently reading that book, but that one was pretty full too. I could only donate like 3 books. So then I went outside of this abandoned veterinarian clinic, and that little library was completely empty except for a lone chapstick. So I just put the rest of my books in here. Hopefully people actually pick them up. But then I went home. Okay, I'm back from my bike ride. That was actually a really hard bike ride. I was sweating my ass off. I hate biking on the road. I just want to bike on the sidewalk. I can kind of understand if you're like a cyclist and you have like a road bike and you're going really fast, but my bike is like a mountain bike. Like I'm not going very fast on that. So I'm like, am I supposed to be on the road? Because I just like riding on the road and I didn't need to be. And I was staying in the bike lane. I'm not an asshole, but anyway, I dropped off all my books. I think what I'm gonna do is make croissants. I've never made them before. From what I see online, it looks like a giant pain in the ass, but you know, what else am I gonna do today?